Thank you for joining us on the Nikki Maduro Show. I am Nikki Maduro. She is Kim McAllister. And yes, well, I have my cocktail. Kim is drinking nothing. She has nothing going on.
I have my coconut
We said
fizzy
that we were
water.
going to do some
Coconut
drinking
LaCroix.
today. We said we were going
know.
to drink. Last week we said we are going to make a special cocktail. I totally forgot to make a special cocktail because I've been drinking this whole entire time. You promised to drink. David! I know you're listening to me. Make Kim a cocktail. Make her something. Make her drink something. Anyway,
so funny.
This is Cocktails and News. We're going to go over the news of the week, which has just gotten. I mean, obviously, this is the first week of Donald Trump's presidency. It hasn't even been a full week, but still, I mean, I just kind of feel like it is what it is. It's totally living up to everything, and we're going to go through it, and we're going to definitely get your comments and your reactions to everything. But I feel like I'm not surprised by what he's done, and yet at the same time, I'm just completely blown away. You guys click the thumbs up button. The super chats are open. Our Patreon is always open, and we thank all of you always for all of the support. We cannot do this 100% crowdfunded show without you. So thank you all for being here. And it's going to be an insane 4 years, as we know. As you saw in the thumbnail, the police union is just completely shocked as well by Donald Trump's pardon. And I just had to tell you about this funny meme, Kim, that I saw today. And I think it was our friend Noe Marie that I saw on our Instagram. And it was so funny because it's so true. And it said, if the J-6ers were Antifa, BLM, and the FBI, then why did Trump pardon them? And it's like, you can't have it both ways, right? Because that's what they were saying before. Oh, those weren't Trump supporters.
Sure.
Those were, the deep state, the liberals. They were plants, right? Okay, so if they were plants, right? If it was BLM and Antifa that were storming the Capitol, right? Then why did Trump pardon them? And it's just, and the fact that it was a blanket pardon. People that literally were guilty.
Because he just got caught in a lie. So if he told that one lie, Trumpers, then he probably told others. So maybe it's time to just, take a real hard look at what he's saying and what's true and what isn't.
Exactly. And I think that even Republicans, there are Republicans that were shocked by the fact that Donald Trump was didn't even take any sort of, I don't know, scalpel. And he was like, okay, well, that guy obviously was guilty, pleaded guilty, was caught on video, literally committing a crime, all of these sorts. No, every single person received a pardon. And I just think that that's ridiculous. Here's, now this guy's a Democrat, but this is Congressman Jim McGovern. This was on Wednesday. And I think, again, I want to play a little bit of this for you. This is supposedly, the law and order party, right? Republicans, law and order party. They're no longer, you cannot have a convicted felon as president, pardon 1,500 J-6ers and be the law and order party.
Up a rule for two bills that will be debated on the floor this week. I look forward to that debate. But I feel compelled to focus on this majority's screwed up priorities, which now include handing a get-out-of-jail-free card to KKK members, Proud Boys, and other criminals who violently beat cops within an inch of their lives on January 6, 2021. I mean, I thought this election was about lowering costs. What the hell happened? I thought it was about securing the border. I thought it was about making sure that our communities are safe. Not whatever the hell these pardons are. These pardons are sick. They are offensive. They are un-American. And I don't ever want to hear about law and order from your side again, Mr. Speaker, when your side is letting criminals back on the streets. Criminals who beat cops and tried to overthrow our government. 1,500 criminals, including over 600 who were charged with violently assaulting police officers. And I'm here to talk about that on the floor because I think it's disgusting. I think it's a disgrace. The people Trump let out broke through windows, beat up cops, and desecrated this beautiful symbol of our country. A building, by the way, that terrorists tried to destroy on September 11, 2001. They couldn't get here because they were stopped by the courageous people on board Flight 93. But the crowd that Donald Trump sent here breached the building, and they attacked it in a way that had never been done. It was a horrible, awful thing, what happened that day. I was in this chamber. I was in this room. I was in your chair, Mr. Speaker. I took over for Speaker Pelosi when she was evacuated. I was one of the last people off the floor, and I exited through those doors. And I saw the faces of the rioters smashing windows to try to get at us. They wanted to kill people, kill police, kill us. And I saw the walls they covered with feces. I saw them use flagpoles to beat police officers. I saw the fear in the eyes of my Republican colleagues as they cowered that day. And I saw the bravery of law enforcement that protected us. Mr. Speaker, how the hell do you guys walk into this place every day? How do you look the police officers in the eye? How do you do it, knowing the people who tried to kill them will walk free thanks to Donald Trump?
And that's what gets me. You know,
Yep.
I mean, I remember when we saw like the aftermath and they did all, and we saw those Capitol police officers and how just devastated they were by all of it. And then to think that some of these lawmakers are just going to turn right around and say that it didn't happen, right? That it was a beautiful day of love, as Donald Trump said, right? It's just, stop gaslighting us. And the gaslighting is going to continue, right? I mean, it's already begun with Elon Musk and all this other nonsense that we'll talk about. But I think the fact that the police unions and Republicans even being shocked by those 1,500 pardons, at least, I mean, I was a little bit pleased that they're not at least completely crazy. That at least some people were outraged by it. I don't know.
I love what he had to say. I want to tell you that Trump was speaking today on a number of topics from the Oval Office, and one of the things he said made my mouth hang agape. He said he is open to inviting pardoned January 6th defendants to the White House.
Of course. Why not? Is he gonna the shaman guy? Is he gonna show up? You know
Have
what
him
I
in the White
mean?
House. Like it's like the United States turned into a total mockery. I don't. I mean, does it ever get to a point, do you think, where it will be even too much for the hardcore Trumpers, where finally they look at it and go, "Ooh, that's even that's a step over the line for me." Does
I
it
don't
ever
know.
get to that point? Do we ever like, or is it always just making excuses for him? Like, oh, that's Trump. Boys will be boys. That's just the way he does business. He doesn't really mean it. He's in a no.
I don't know what it would be. I don't know what it would take him. I don't know what it would take. What would it really take to get MAGA? Now, I mean, I don't know. I mean, his rich buddies know as long as the money keeps flowing in. But these red state MAGA types, I mean, he could literally, I feel like, take their home away, take the clothes off their back,
and
they'd still support his ass.
Right. Well, look what they did during the hurricanes, the misinformation that actually hurt people trying to recover
Exactly.
from these storms. Luis just threw down $5.
Thank
Luis,
you,
you're
Luis.
awesome. He says, deport suspected criminals and pardon real criminals.
Right.
Awesome MAGA makes perfect sense. LOL. Thanks, America. Make my Long Island a double. Indeed.
Exactly. It's just awful. And then teacher Lori says, laziness. Have read and heard several places that they were checking the pardons. It got too long. And so Trump just said, F it, just do them all.
Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it. You know what I mean? Trump's like, I am not reading all of these. 1,500, just do it all. I mean, I just wouldn't put it past him. He really is.
Well, because you had people stand up when they were going under confirmation hearings like Bondi for AG, And they asked her about the January 6th pardons, and she said, oh, it won't be the violent criminals.
Yeah,
Turns out it was everybody.
right.
So he made liars of at least 2 of his nominees who told Congress it won't be the violent ones.
Right.
Yes, it
Right.
will.
It will
Yeah,
be.
it'll be the violent ones. It'll be the Oath Keepers. It'll be the Proud Boys convicted of sedition against America, seditious conspiracy. It'll be the people, the worst of the worst, the bad of the worst, the worst of the worst. It'll be those guys that were just set free.
And they're being called foot soldiers now. Foot soldiers for Trump. I mean, look at them. I mean, now they know I can do whatever I want. Although there was one guy, and I don't know if there's going to be any others. Apparently, the day after he got pardoned, he got arrested again because he had committed a crime. He had been in jail, and then he had committed another crime, and so he's back in jail. I mean, some of these people are just criminals. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
Yeah, we're
I
living in
just
bizarro world.
exactly.
What's up is down. What's illegal is legal. What is a lie is allegedly the truth. It is utter insanity. Phineas calls it like it is.
Well, we have a convicted felon as president. We
Mhm.
should have never had the highest court in the land say out loud
Yeah.
and on the record that the president is above the law. Nobody should be above the law. Did your husband bring you a cocktail?
I got
Did he
my
hear me?
kamikaze. It's a
Thank
full
you,
one.
David.
He must have heard you. Did you
He
hear
did
me?
hear me.
He was yelling at you to bring me a cocktail. Did you hear? Were you watching the show? No. He said he didn't hear you.
Okay.
Thank you for the cocktail.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. I love you, David.
Mhm.
See, she needed it. Cheers, my
Mhm.
friend. See, you needed a cocktail on this
I
day of
needed a
days.
cocktail. I
Cheers.
needed a cocktail.
You can't have cocktails and news on the
I gotta
first
watch
week
it.
of
The last time I
presidency.
drank a whole cup like this, it was not a good scene after the show.
Who cares?
Yeah, so I had to chill out.
It is the first week of Donald Trump's presidency. I could give 2 craps. You need to be drinking. All I'm saying is that Donald Trump, he's not going to surprise us at all. So now
Yeah.
let's go. So today we actually got some good news today on the birthright citizenship. The judge blocked it as being blatantly unconstitutional,
Well,
which
it is.
it
It's in the
obviously is.
Constitution. You can't make a rule that's not in the. You can't say, "Oh, we no longer have freedom of press." I mean, obviously, that's what he's trying to do.
That's what
But
he's
you
trying to
can't
do, right.
come out and say, you might as well just say, we're just going to wad up the Constitution and chuck it in the trash. No,
Right.
it's a spelled out right. You can't just say we're not doing that anymore. That
Yeah.
has to be amended and it has to be ratified by the states, and it's a long, arduous process that is unlikely to happen. You can't just make a rule and say this is what we're doing now. No.
Yeah. Apparently the lawyer was like, well, if you give me a chance, it's funny. The judge is like, no, like you can't, I'm just not going to give you a chance. I'm not going to take away a constitutional right to give you time to explain it. So obviously birthright citizenship is back to being the law of the land. Donald Trump just can't, with an executive order, take that away. Teacher Lori says Trump wants it to go to SCOTUS, where they will rule that it was intended for former slaves only and not immigrants. Current SCOTUS does not care about precedent. That's an interesting question, although it has been upheld. Now, again, I hear what you're saying, Teacher Lori, and I would love to say because it's been precedent for much longer than, let's say, Roe v. Wade, that
Right.
maybe they wouldn't, but I don't put anything in, I have no stock with this Supreme Court. But let me ask you this question. Okay. I don't want to take away birthright citizenship at all. Okay. But there have been, especially I want to say in the last, let's say 10 to 20 years, there have been a lot of these news stories about, and I forget what they call it. What is it? Like vacationing, birthings type of stuff where people come and they're making a lot of business out of
Birth
this, right?
tourism. Yeah.
Birth tourism, right? Where
Mhm.
they bring people from out of the country, they put them up in a hotel just to have babies that
Mhm.
will have American citizenship.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's right?
I don't.
I don't think that that's right either.
I don't think it's right. So we can argue the merits of whether it's right or wrong, but also we have a process to change things. So if you don't
Right.
like the law, if you don't like that part of the Constitution and you feel it needs to be amended, sure, let's amend it.
Right.
Let's talk about amending it. Let's talk about why it might be worth having. Let's talk about why it isn't worth having. Let's talk about this, let's talk about it and figure it out and take it to the states and take it to a vote. But you don't just send out a grand order saying, as of today, no more, no more birthright citizenship. And then it gets
Right.
complicated. Because think about this. What if my one parent is what if both of my parents were here on green cards and I'm
Right.
born here? Then I'm not a citizen, but I go through the school system here and we live here legally. I
Mhm.
don't know. Like there's just questions.
I mean, if
In
you have a
some
green card,
yeah.
and I think that that's okay, but I think that if somebody comes here, let's say as a visitor, right, on a visa, just as a
Mhm.
visitor, just to have a baby so that the baby has citizenship,
Yeah.
I think that's a caveat that we can say, "No, that's not
Some
allowed."
some of those cases might be easy to prove, but how do you prove in the other case? How do you,
That's gonna tie up the court system, you
how do you
know?
know who's legit and who's not legit as far as being born here?
Mm. I mean, I kind of feel like on a birth certificate, I mean, you have to have certain documents, especially if you're out
Mhm.
of the country.
Yeah.
I think those things we can set up a system. It might take, obviously paperwork and all sorts of stuff. But if we are serious about taking the politics out of it and really solving this issue, we can. But we would have to take the politics out of it. And I
Mhm.
think that's the problem. With Trump in office, it all becomes politics. Let's
Right.
actually solve the problem. I think that it should be a crime to set up a business in which you make money off bringing people that are not citizens solely for the purpose of having their child becoming a US citizen. I think that because that bastardizes, for no pun intended, the what the birthright citizenship is for, right?
Yeah.
The reason we have that in the Constitution, and creates a problem that we're seeing right now.
Yep.
So I think that we can have that honest conversation. Kim, you're being asked the thoughts on the legality
Mhm.
of sanctuary cities. Don't need to follow federal immigration laws.
Okay,
Kim,
so
do you want to
this
take this question?
I'll take this question. Thanks for asking, John Cottingham. Um, so I feel like we have these laws in place for a reason and they should be followed. And I don't agree with people coming here illegally and staying. However, we have set
However,
up a system where our economy cannot survive without people that are here as undocumented immigrants.
right.
We know that our grocery store prices will go up. We know that
Already
restaurants will
happening. Mhm.
close. We saw it during the pandemic. They had signs on restaurant doors all over in cities all over America. We can't find enough staff to wash the dishes and cook the food.
Right.
So I feel like we have American citizens have set up this society where we are benefiting from undocumented immigrants being here. They pay taxes on things. They even pay social security taxes. And all of that goes to the government. And because they're either using fake numbers or, ill-gotten numbers, they can never collect on the taxes on the money that they paid in. It benefits us. So the people that are going to collect eventually that are worried about social security becoming insolvent for a lot of reasons. I'm not so angry about it. All of these reasons are why. But if you ask me specifically, do I believe in sanctuary cities? I don't believe in setting up cities where laws are not followed. We're
Right.
just, we're a city, we're just not going to follow the law here. I do believe in kindness. I don't believe in arresting children at school. I don't believe
Mm-mm.
in separating families. And I think there's a way to treat immigration and to treat immigration with kindness,
Yeah.
to focus on the problem but do it with kindness. In the same way that I wouldn't be allowed to go to Mexico and stay indefinitely or pick another country and stay indefinitely, people shouldn't be allowed to do it here. We have laws, we have them for a reason. And so, no, if you're asking me that I think sanctuary cities are a good thing, I'm very conflicted about it
Yeah.
because I have respect for people that are here, whether they're here as undocumented immigrants or not, because I know that we need them. Does that make
We do.
sense?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I will say this, we're already seeing the results of
Mhm.
Trump's threats against the undocumented. I mean, according to NBC Bay Area, the California Farm Bureau says fears in the Central Valley have led to migrant farm workers. Again, this is not even a full week. Migrant farm workers are not showing up to work. It's virtually halted the area's citrus harvest. Apparently, The harvest starts, they're supposed to start harvesting in April. So it's coming up late April. Harvest season in Salinas begins in late April. They said just the threat of deportation could be enough to deter as many as 55,000 migrant workers the valley needs to operate the harvest season. That could, of course, lead to higher food prices, which Trump promised to bring down. Now,
wait a minute.
Oh, yeah,
That goes
exactly.
against, what about a campaign promise? Okay.
Now, let me just go over this list that someone online had done and put together. So I'm going to give this to Brian Krasenstein. Okay. He's like an online quote unquote political commentary guy, but he put it together this list. So I'm going to give the credit to him. But it's just a kind of a laundry list of undocumented immigrant jobs per state. And the two highest, not surprisingly, actually three: California, Texas, and Florida. Okay. But most states use undocumented immigrants. California uses, what is it? 2 million. 2 million undocumented immigrants. Okay. Obviously, we are talking about in the areas of agriculture. I just lost my list. Agriculture in the Central Valley, construction, hospitality, manufacturing, and services. Let's go down to Florida. Florida uses a lot of there's for hospitality, hotels and restaurants, construction and agriculture. They use between 750,000 and 800,000. And then, of course, Texas is using a lot of theirs for, let me get the list up. They're using it the same thing, hospitality and also construction as well. So that, and they're using like over a million in Florida, in Texas, of undocumented immigrants. Now I ask you, pull all those people. Do you have a plan or even a concept of a plan of replacing those people immediately? Because it hasn't even been a full week and these farm workers aren't showing up.
Right.
It hasn't even been a full week. You don't think if there's not a plan to replace these people, we aren't immediately going to see the results in a grocery store?
Yeah.
You have to harvest. That food is just going to sit there on the vine.
You have to harvest and you have to do it in a certain time frame.
It's like
I'm telling you,
think about
it's bad for the economy. Here's John again saying, I disagree. We can survive. You just don't want to pay the price. Well, you know what, John? America didn't want to pay the price. America voted with their wallet. America voted because they were so worried about paying more for eggs, milk, and gas. So, oh, hi, Julia. So that's what they voted for.
Right.
And now you're saying we can survive. You just don't want to pay the price. Obviously, America disagreed with you.
I mean, wasn't that what everyone was so pissed off about? Wasn't it the economy, stupid? Wasn't it money? Wasn't that what everyone was so upset about? Wasn't Donald Trump going to fix the economy like that for you? Weren't we going to have so much money in our bank accounts that we were just going to overflow with money? Wasn't that the point? Wasn't that the point? I mean, unless I was supposed to be poor and paying higher food prices just so Donald Trump could make a point. I'm not quite sure. You MAGA people explain it to me, because I thought the point was Donald Trump was going to fix everything overnight. I was going to be paying less for food, less taxes, but apparently these tariffs, I don't know what the hell he's going to do about that. I mean, again, fine, right? Show me. I'm not seeing it yet, but it doesn't make sense. And these deportations, I have kids at my school. I mean, they're already scared, right? Yeah. They're already scared. And it's so stupid. It's just, they shouldn't be feeling this way.
We know that people are going to be here illegally because, as we said before, we need them. We don't want them to leave because we need them for a variety of reasons, as discussed. So now you've got people here and we have a choice. We can say, all right, we're going to educate your kids because we know you're going to be here for a long time. They're going to grow up here. They're probably going to live here. Do we want an uneducated, stupid populace? No, we don't. So it's in our benefit. And it's not the kids' fault they're here illegally. It's the parents' fault. Right. So why should they have to pay the price? And because they're going to be here, then it makes sense to allow them to benefit from the school system in America. Do we want people bleeding out in the street? Do we want our workforce, undocumented or not, to have to suffer through, not being able to go to an emergency room when they're sick, spreading around viruses, walking around with a broken arm. No, we don't want that for people. So that's why, again, there were two places, hospitals and schools. Sorry, churches and schools. It was churches and schools where ICE was told, don't go into these places.
Right.
I think
Just let
hospitals
'em be.
were on the list too. There's called sensitive areas. And Trump just said, you know what? Use your best judgment, ICE. But now schools and
Yeah.
churches are off the list of sensitive places. If you need to go in and make an arrest, go in and make an arrest. Imagine being a mom that's here in an undocumented way and now
Mhm.
trying to send your kid to school and you don't know whether they're coming home at the end of the day.
I mean, I wouldn't wanna send my kid to school. I'd wanna keep them home. And that's it's we shouldn't wanna live in
Mhm.
this society, and I was talking to a coworker today, and it even goes beyond that. It's just anybody that even looks like brown. I'm just gonna use the color, right? You look
Yeah.
brown. And you're already seeing it in the comments that people are making. There was this news report that in Half Moon Bay, today is the 2.5-year anniversary of the shooting at Half Moon Bay, the vigil or whatever of that shooting. And these postcards are being left that say, pack your bags, Trump is coming. This local nonprofit is saying farm workers are getting them. And they're saying there's nowhere to hide. What are you? These are the people.
Those are
How? They're,
scary words. Those are that's an attack.
yes.
Like
And
there's nowhere to hide. We're coming for you.
we're coming for you. And these are people that feed you. You ever hear the saying, don't bite the hand that feeds you? This
Mm,
nonprofit says between 1/3 and half of America, that's the entire nation's farm workers, live in California.
yep.
Okay. That's about 500,000 to 800,000 people. And this kind of shocked me. Okay. 75% of those workers are here illegally. So think about that. I mean, that kind of blew my mind. This nonprofit
Mm.
says 75% of the people that farm obviously most of the people that farm in California, which is half of the nation's farm workers, are here illegally. You lose them. Okay. And these are the people that feed you. Okay. So they're here illegally, but they are doing, I'm sorry, God's work. They're feeding you. They are literally feeding you.
I love Cheryl's comment. She says, I had a Trump supporter tell me that there's a ton of people in America that would be happy to go to work in the
Line
farms,
up.
in the
Go
fields.
line up to do it. I would never
Have
in a
you
million
ever
years.
met a person that
No.
would be
No.
that would look at you and go, "Oh, sign me up.
I'm gonna wake up
Can't
at the
wait
butt
to go
crack of
out there
dawn.
and do this
Back-breaking work.
back-breaking work all day long." This repetitive motion where the chances are good that you'll be injured. You're out there in the sun, you're sweating all day long. It's hard back-breaking work. Have you really met an American that wants to go do that? Because I've never met one. As a matter of fact, I could tell my kids, hey, this year we're going to Salinas and we're going to spend a month during the summer and we're going to be picking strawberries. They would
Mm-mm.
look at me like I was nuts.
I want
Even
all
my
those MAGA
children would be
nuts to
like,
go line up and do that job.
I
If you
know.
believe that this is a job that Americans want to do, then you sign up for it. Then you sign up for it. You should want to do it for your
Mhm.
nation. Do it for your country.
Right.
Don't go into the military, go into farm work. Okay. Because that's serving your nation. Because obviously you want to deport the people, right? That just don't deserve to be here in your mind. So serve your nation, go put on a hat, sit in the sun. I had to put together this like planter thing for my corner of my house. I sat down cross-legged for 20 minutes. It was
And
a
your legs got a
bad
little
idea.
tingly,
It
little
was a very
numb.
bad idea. You know what I mean? And these people aren't spring chickens either, right? Not all of them are teenagers. This is their career.
Yeah.
They're my age and older. Like, come on.
Right.
And people are such assholes. It's just ridiculous. I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like if Americans wanted the jobs, if
Yeah.
Americans wanted to be farm workers, they would be. They would be.
So we have these people, a lot of them, as you just said, who come here, who do this work, and And now we're saying we're not going to give you a safe place to be, a city that's free from the risk of arrest. We're
Right.
not going to give you schools for your kids, which would be basically what's the incentive to come here, right?
Right.
We're not going to give you schools to educate your children. We're not going to help you. We're not going to allow you to go to church, which we know may be very important to you, without the threat of ICE coming in on Sunday and raiding the church. So come at your own risk.
Yeah.
So who's going to come and who's going to
Mhm.
do the work?
Nobody.
Nobody's
coming.
gonna do the work.
Nobody's going to come and do the work. And so look,
So
we're going to
kiss your
feel it in the
produce
grocery
goodbye.
store.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And I hope that you like, processed foods. I hope you enjoy seeing, the vegetable and fruit aisles empty, because that's what you're going to see, right? That's what you're going to see, because I don't know. I don't know what our world's going to look like over the
It's
next 4 years if this
completely
happens.
illogical, and it's all based
Exactly.
on hate of others,
You
because
know,
they've stirred up this hate of people that are not American looking.
yeah.
That they have their
Whatever
skin is
that looks
darker.
like,
Right,
right?
exactly. Their skin may be darker, or they may speak a different language, or they're somehow other. And so we're going to target them and we're going to hate on them without looking at what they bring to this country in a
Right.
variety of different ways. And
Mhm.
it's hateful and it's unkind, and I don't like that kind of America.
Nope.
And I think
Exactly.
we can do better.
We can definitely do better. And I mean, on that note, also what Trump did, the whole DEI thing, right? Like getting rid of diversity, equity and inclusion. And I kept like getting aggravated about this.
Mhm.
Oh, well, hold on. Let me read Agolf Twitter's thing. When you talk to
Mhm.
California farmers, they will tell you about the 1 or 2 Americans who show up during hiring on the first day, get less than half the pick the migrants get per worker and last a day. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was listening. I think it was, I don't know if it was a This America Life. I was listening to a podcast long time ago. And they did this. They followed somebody. And they're like, yeah, no. Americans, and I'm gonna say, and I don't mean this in a bad way. I'm gonna mean like the pampered American, right? Like
Mhm.
the typical American, the whatever. The I didn't come from another country, so I don't know what it's like to come from another country kind of American. They have no freaking idea what it's like. Okay. So you just don't have that perspective. And you're like, what? I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that. Other people that come from other countries who understand what it's like, they will do it because they all, I think, one, this is my opinion, have perspective, right? They come from a place or they're like, this is good, right?
Mhm.
This is better. And I don't have a choice. This is what I have to do. Like, I don't have a parent that's going to be like, it's okay, honey. You can come back to bed. No, my parents looking at me being like, bend over, pick it. That's your job. We're doing it. Like,
Right.
there is no pampering. We're doing it. It's,
And by the way, pick it for a pittance.
yeah, like there is no choice.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of Americans understand that feeling of looking at your parent or your uncle or your aunt or your grandma or whatever and looking at them and be like, I don't give a shit. Bend over and go. Like, you're doing this. So even as the words come out of my mouth, I have no comprehension of what that must feel like of having to do something like that. So
If they really do crack down on undocumented immigrants and they deport them all, and we're left with no one that wants these jobs and skyrocketing prices, then sadly we have to go through the hard times before people realize, so what then? When the prices of every single item of the produce aisle shoot straight up, and when restaurants and small businesses are closing down because we don't have enough people here, then will we go, okay, so it's clear that the numbers that we've set for people that are here legally are too low, the people we allow in, and we need to raise those numbers? Or will we come up with some other kind of system where you can take seasonal work and be here legally? We have to come up with some kind
sort
of
of
plan.
system.
Because if you don't like the way we're doing it now, where we just kind of look the other way if you're undocumented, prices will still go up, because if you allow people to be here legally, then they're going to have to be paid a real wage,
Right.
a legal, lawful wage. So you can't just pay people nothing, 5 cents a tomato or whatever. You have to actually pay people.
Right.
So prices will still go up, but we can do it differently if you want to do it differently. But don't tell me that you're going to do this and there's not going to be a problem, that we're not going to see a consequence.
Uncle Scrooge said, thank you for the $5 donation, Uncle Scrooge.
Thank you.
The Central Valley of California will be the first to feel it. Absolutely. They already are. Yep. A majority of farm owners are Trump supporters and they will reap what they sow. Absolutely. They already are. Like I mentioned, people are not showing up for work. It hasn't even been a week and they aren't showing up. They're like, I ain't getting deported. They're probably seeing what's going to happen. And I love Phineas's comment. Nikki, how many worker comp claims would Americans file the first day of working on a farm? They'd be like, oh, my neck. That's the American way. They're like, I hurt myself. And that's true because that's how we look at it.
Thorn in my thumb. I can't pick.
And you have to pay me because, again, that's how we view it. You think these undocumented immigrants are filing workman comp claims? No. Another benefit of being an undocumented immigrant to the employer, not to the undocumented immigrants, by the way. And that's wrong. That is wrong. But again, they just look past it and they're like, nope, it's wrong for them to be here. It pisses me off.
Because they hate them. End. I was watching a news program. It's like 60 Minutes or some such before the election, a couple months before the election. And they had in-depth interviews of farmers in the middle of the country. And they were dairy farmers. And they were saying, and these are conservative white farmers from the middle of the country. And even they said before the election, we don't know if we can support Trump because he wants to take our workers away from us. They knew. They said, if you take my workers away, if you deport my workers, I will have no one. And I won't be able to afford to get you the milk, to get you the cheese, to get you the whatever you need, to get you the beef, your hamburger. We won't be able to do it. Farmers already were saying it before the election. And then for some reason, who did they vote for?
Because they believe that Trump will make it okay. Because they still believe that Trump will make it okay. And it's just like, and now to transition to the DEI, it's just like women, minorities that still voted for Trump, even though he's not looking at you. I feel, and I'm going to say this. Okay. The whole DEI thing has been, again, misunderstood. It's just like the woke thing, right? They took something that was supposed to be one thing and then they switched it all around and made it mean something else. And now it's a bad thing. And it sucks because Republicans do this all, and I'm going to say Republicans and Trump and all that. They do this all of the time. They take something that was just supposed to mean this one thing, right? Like, let's just look at how we hire people, right? Like, we understand that this happens. Let's just try to improve this. Let's just try to set up a system in which we cast a wider net and understand that. Let's set up maybe a committee within our hiring practices and understand certain things happen. And let's acknowledge, right? And I will say this. I was reading a bunch of different articles on DEI as I was prepping for the show. And there was one interesting article, I don't know if it was by Harvard Business Review or something, or USA Today, I forget. And they had made this comment that in the rush to create a lot of these committees and how businesses left and right were creating these DEI committees, right? That some of them didn't, kind of flush them out, right? So it just became this kind of throwing things at the wall, and it didn't seem like there was a real system in place. And then those sort of companies may have gotten bad headlines. Okay. Certain new things might get bad headlines. It doesn't mean that their heart was in the wrong place, right? I still think the heart and the meaning behind DEI is the right thing. And this is always my question. Whenever anybody's like against quote unquote DEI, I always want to ask them, what is diversity to you? What does it mean to be diverse? right? Because every time I have that conversation with people, it always goes, "Oh, well, it means that you can't hire a white guy." Right? You're discriminating against a white guy.
Yeah.
And so then I always say, okay, so then to you, the default is white guy. And so in and of itself, you understand that you default to white guy, right? So you're even admitting that there is this natural kind of understanding amongst both of us, those for DEI and those quote unquote against DEI, that the system in and of itself views white guy as the standard. Whether you're a woman, whether you're a person of color, whether you're LGBTQ, white straight man is the person either being discriminated against or the one being privileged or whatever. It is white straight man. And so again, I just feel like if people can understand that, and that's just kind of the system we're trying to grow from, we could really be honest with everything, but we can't. And Donald Trump just sucks. And the fact that he's just trying to get rid of everything that has anything to do with improving diversity and making our workplaces and everything look like our nation, which is really the point. Like
Yeah.
it's good to have different thoughts and ideas. That's a good thing. He doesn't get it. And that's just what pisses me off.
I feel like white people, me being one of them, have had it really, really good at the top of the food chain here in America for a lot of years. And in order to equalize the playing field, we're going to have to take a hit. And what it means is individually, it's unfair. Is it unfair that my white daughter probably will have a harder time getting into a college than a girl her age of color?
I mean,
It is
okay.
not fair on an individual level, but my argument is this. We have to do that. We have to equalize the playing field. Otherwise, what we're going to see is the same racist, institutional racist, and out racist society that we have right now, where it's never going to be better unless it gets better economically for people, where we're
Well,
all, we all are able to be part of the middle class. We're all able to be educated. And so if you have to take some hits, if my white people have to say, okay, you know,
I don't
that
like that though. I don't
I
like that either.
I don't like it
I
either, but there
feel
is
like
no way around it. There is no way to make things fair unless you equalize the playing field. And so for so long it's been like this. The only way to bring it down is to take away some opportunity and give it to other people. That's
well,
the only way to do it. And it hurts and you're angry about it. I know the Trumpers are angry about it, but that is what must happen in order to create a healthy society. And so if we keep white people on this side of the chain, are we ever going to have a healthy society? It's detrimental to us in the end not to do it.
well, I kind of see it differently. I don't see it as let's take away opportunity from white people. I see it as, if there's a room and you're only letting in white people, like if there's a job opportunity
Sure.
and women are being left out of the room, you have to open the door to women to give them a shot, right? Oh, you have to cast a wider net. Cast a wider net to women and people of color. They still have to be able to meet the test scores or meet the qualifications. They still have to hit a bar. You don't just give them it just because they are a woman or a person of color or not white, right? Like you still have to have standards. And that's what pisses me off about the whole military thing and all sorts of things. You still have to meet the standard in which we set. So I think what we need to develop is a standard that is created by the people who, and let's do a workplace, right? So let's just say there's a job. I think that the people that work there should collaborate on what is the responsibility of said position. And I would hope that in a collaborative form. And I would hope that, bringing in different thoughts, and obviously if it's only white people doing it, maybe we could bring in people of color or bring in people of different genders or whatever. And let's come up with a standard, right? That we can come up with. And then we cast this wide net. And I don't know, maybe there can be some sort of way of doing it blind. Like we just bring in people and there's no names, or there's something where, okay, this we're going through the list, and the people are filtered through.
We're not there yet to do a blind list. And the reason is because you still likely will have, if you look at 2 resumes and you take the name off the top, it's still more likely that you're going to have someone who's affluent, who, comes from maybe a background where they got more opportunities. That person is probably going to look better on a resume than someone who may be able to do the job very well, but just doesn't have the same level of opportunity and doesn't look as good on paper. And so if you look at it blind, maybe you're going to have you'll fill all the positions with white people again, even though the person with less opportunity could do the job, is smart, is capable. We see it with jobs in firefighting and police officers, where maybe a white guy gets 98% on the academy test, or graduates at the top of the class, but doesn't get hired first. It's somebody that is of color. Both are able to do the jobs. One would argue that the guy at the top of the class was more qualified. Maybe someone else would argue that the person of color would be a better option, because they'll go into a community and people will feel more comfortable talking to them. And that's maybe what that job is about. When you look at policing and things, everyone has something to bring to the table. But I just don't think we're there yet with equality where we can afford to go, oh yeah, just put everyone in a bucket and pick out, look
maybe
at their
we have to try out the job.
Don't look at the color.
Maybe we make people try out the job. I don't know. I don't
know either.
It's so hard, and that's the thing. It's, and jobs often are like, who do you know? There is always going to be that, from getting a house to getting a rental to, there's always like, well, who do you know? I hear it all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's no jobs available. Well, I know a friend who might know. That will always exist. And so this person, and that's just natural. It's just, I don't know how we fix it, but I do know this. Not trying to even the playing field is the wrong way to go, right? Like going the opposite way and saying, screw it, let's go back to the way it was, is not the right way to go.
Well, they're not looking to fix the problem.
They're
looking
just want
to
go
roll back the way it was.
Yeah.
They're not looking like you and I are at a way. How could we make it more fair for everyone?
Exactly.
Right?
And that's so stupid.
How could we keep it so that white people are not so angry about the fact that they're not getting all the opportunities anymore? How could we equalize without penalizing? I don't think we can. But that's not what they're looking at. They're looking at, screw all the people of color. We want all the jobs and we're going back to it. So, the DEI hires are out. It's not good for the society. It isn't. It really isn't.
It's just ridiculous, and it's just protecting people that honestly don't need protection. If anybody doesn't need protection, it's rich, straight white men. Although they like to play the victim card, like, oh my God, I'm not getting the job that I want anymore. Like, I'm sure you have connections. Like, just try a little harder. Like, and I'm not saying all of you do, and I hate saying that because it's wrong. Like, I shouldn't have just said that, because I know it's not a blanket statement. But straight white men have a privilege. I don't care if you're poor or not. Like, you carry a privilege that you don't even know you carry. You just do, and that is true. So yeah, you do. But I'm just gonna say, we need to do better. We need to continue to try to do better. And I think that we can do better. And we should not follow Donald Trump's lead. That's all I'm saying. It sucks. It sucks that, Caitlyn Jenner is going against her own self. I mean, Donald Trump saying that there's only, and he says only 2 sexes. He meant genders, right? A male and female. He doesn't even understand. And then Caitlyn Jenner still supporting him. Like, he literally says she doesn't exist and now is being dead named over and over again. I don't even understand. I don't even understand her. I'm respecting her enough to continue to call her Caitlyn because I respect the transgender community enough to say they exist.
Right.
I don't respect Caitlyn Jenner.
No.
As a person. I think she is, I don't know. Say what you were saying before, because Kim has this hypothesis about Caitlyn Jenner. I don't understand. I don't
So
understand her at
in
all.
thinking about why people would vote against their own self-interest, or why people would, like Caitlyn Jenner, would support someone like Trump, who is completely against being transgender when Caitlyn herself is transgender.
She's a transgender woman. Like,
I can only think that it comes down to hatred. Hatred. We know, I've read stories before about her, journey to becoming who she is now, and how when she was Bruce Jenner, he hated himself. He had anger inside, what have you. And so I have to think that there's a lot of hate brewing inside Caitlyn Jenner, not only self-loathing, but also perhaps loathing for people of color, or some type of hatred that somehow attracts her to Trump. Because what other reason, other than this anger inside, this swirling of angry, dark emotion inside, would there be to support someone like Trump that is completely standing against what should be something that you would want, which is the acknowledgement of your transgenderness, of your being a woman, of your name,
existence.
of your existence. Thank
of
you.
your literal existence. Like, and there's pictures of you like shaking hands. I don't even know how Trump can have Caitlyn even at an event. I mean, it boggles my mind. It does not compute. I don't know. I feel like, do you not have any standards? Do you not have any self-respect? What the is wrong with you? Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
How can you stand to look at yourself in the mirror? I just, there are people that support Donald Trump, and then there are people that are like Caitlyn Jenner. And it's just, I understand. Okay, you might want to keep your money, right? I understand. You want the tax breaks. Okay. But he says you don't exist, and she won't even come out and say anything about it. She won't even come out and say anything about it. If I was part of the transgender community, I would never talk to her again. I would never talk to her again. I don't know.
Well, she certainly shouldn't be anyone representing the trans community.
No. Not at all. I mean, because she doesn't represent the trans community.
It's like, well, for me, and it's even more egregious, maybe, I don't know. But for me, it's like being a woman and voting for Trump when he says, I'm proud of taking away reproductive choice.
Yeah.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, exactly.
How can you be a woman? Okay, I get people have different religious beliefs, but how could you be a woman and say, I agree with them not trusting me to do what I think is best for myself?
Exactly. I need my president or my governor to decide what I can do with my own body. Thanks. You're an idiot. You're a friggin' moron.
I have a new saying. There's a band that's performing in my town, and they're on a marquee in the middle of town, and the band's name is Jerry's Middle Finger.
That's funny.
You know what I say to them? I give you Jerry's middle finger to
there
that.
You go.
That's
there
right.
You go. I love that. Speaking of middle fingers, there's this woman who's saying, okay, this was after Elon's supposed Roman salute. She's like, this means I love you now. She's like, I love you so friggin' much. She's like, because apparently we're making all symbols mean something different now. Elon Musk did the Nazi symbol. Do you want to know why I could say that now? Because the minute everybody saw it, they all thought the same thing. If you have to explain to everybody that it wasn't something everybody thought it was that. I don't care if he was dedicating his heart to the whole world. Okay, I don't care. Everybody saw it and thought the same thing. Nick Fuentes thought the same thing. Everyone thought the exact same thing. And if everyone thinks the same thing, it doesn't matter. He made the symbol. I don't care. You can show me pictures of Hillary Clinton, Obama, Kamala Harris. I don't give a shit. Elon Musk makes jokes and likes far right comments and commentators. There is a thread and a dog whistle attached to that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Stop it.
I was talking to my friend Tony, who is a producer on the Mark Thompson show, and he said, no, did you see the video? And there is video.
I saw the video.
Trump
I saw it. I heard it. I don't
his
give a
heart first.
Yes.
And then putting his hand up. So that he said, no, it was a gesture where he was like from his heart to you. But then, and I honestly, maybe uneducated, illiterate in the ways of Nazism, thank goodness, did not realize that apparently Nazis do that. They tap their heart and then throw up the salute. So I was believing Tony, like, oh, look at, he is tapping his heart first. Maybe he didn't mean it. And then I saw my friend Noe Marie posted a video of Nazis in history and neo-Nazis tapping their heart and doing the same thing. And we know that Elon Musk has gone to Germany and is supporting these people that are, the white supremacists in Germany. And we know that folks in Germany came out after he did this and said, oh no, people, that's a Nazi salute and we should know. And so I believe it. I believe he did this, and I believe it was a message to the people that he supports. I
am done. What we're not going to do this round of Trump's presidency is explain away what they meant. We're not going to do that. Elon Musk did the Sig Heil Hitler thing. It is not a question. I am done being gaslit 5 days into this friggin' guy's presidency. I'm done. I'm not going to do this. Once the words, what he meant to do, come out of somebody's mouth, I'll be like, I saw it. Everybody saw it. If you have to explain it, it is what it is. It is what everybody saw. This whole autistic, there's a whole autistic white far right thing too. You can go down that rabbit hole as well.
Oh, I saw that. We're blaming it on autism. No. I was reading an article today that said autism doesn't mean you have hatred for people.
No.
That maybe they make odd movements in some cases, but that absolutely doesn't mean hateful movements. No. That is not an excuse for this.
Right. No. And this whole ADL thing about, we need to take a breath. They come out with this. This is what they say. They're like, this is a delicate moment. It's a new day, and yet so many are on edge. Our politics are inflamed, and social media only adds to the anxiety. It seems that Elon Musk made an awkward gesture in a moment of enthusiasm, not a Nazi salute, but again, we appreciate that people are on edge. The organization said, in this moment, all sides should give one another a bit of grace, perhaps even the benefit of the doubt, and take a breath. This is a new beginning. Let's hope for healing and work toward unity in the months and years ahead. This isn't an I love you symbol. This is an FU symbol. I saw what I saw. Don't make me take a breath over this. This is what they want you to believe. Elon Musk did what he did. And then he even went on Twitter and made this whole Nazi word, gibberish joke about it, using Nazi words in place of it. He's laughing at you. He's laughing at you. And you're falling for it. It's such bullshit. Stop.
I love the new language, Luis, with enough with the sane-splaining.
Yeah.
I'll be using that. Josh, it was a Broman salute. Get it? Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Today at school, Julia gets in the car and said there was a fight at school, Mom. I said, oh, what happened? This really nice boy. I love his mother. She's amazing. Their family is wonderful. And this boy was involved in a fight with a friend, someone he hung out with. I said, "What was it over?" And she said his friend told him that the Holocaust never happened.
See? See what's happening?
And she said, so this boy who she's in band with punched the friend because he tried to explain to him that yes, it did happen.
Yep.
And when the guy said a bunch of racist, anti-Semitic crap, it came to blows, which I don't ever agree with violence, but if there's going to be violence, I at least can understand why that would be angering. But you see what I'm saying is that it stirs up the pot of this type of stuff.
Kids are following adults' leads. The same thing happened at Marley's, my daughter's school as well. Same thing. A kid was doing the exact same thing. Another kid's like, he's like, it's the Roman salute. And they're like, no, it's not. And they got into a scuffle as well. These kids are watching and they're following your lead. And I am not in any way, shape, or form brainwashing my kid into believing that Elon Musk or anyone else is doing something other than what they're doing. Now, I'm not going to rile my kid up unnecessarily. Don't get me wrong. But I'm also not going to lie to them. Are you kidding me? These are too important of times. Okay. Now, I'm trying to keep my kids honestly away from the news more than I have to, because it's crazy right now.
Yeah, but the thing is, they're hearing it at school.
Exactly. You got to clarify.
You have to clarify. Ricky says reality happening all around us. Kids learn everything we teach them, and that is the truth. My daughter is in the broadcasting class at school.
I love that. I love that.
And she has and I swear I had nothing to do with it, Nikki, because anything I suggest is bad anyway, right? But she came home and said, "I'm doing a weekly news segment." I said, "What?" She said, "Yeah, I'm doing the top stories of the week and they hadn't done news until this. So she's doing a weekly news segment, and I'm proud of her because I think it's important for kids to know truth and facts." So,
absolutely. Absolutely. And they have to do it. But again, like we've talked about this many times, they're getting it in like these little quick snippets with not a lot of, in-depth journalism behind it. The whole TikTok thing, that thing, by the way, was absolutely ridiculous. Do you know? Okay. I don't think you have TikTok, right? You don't have TikTok, right? No. Okay. So that whole TikTok going off the phones and coming back on, that didn't actually have to happen, right?
No.
So the whole thing was it was all performative, right? The rule it was just that you couldn't download it if you didn't have it anymore. If you didn't have it on your phone, they weren't going to update it, blah, blah, blah. Now, if you deleted it off your phone, you couldn't get it back, which was, I can think, shocking to some people. But they didn't need to put up that thing. And they sure as hell didn't need to put up a thing thanking Donald Trump, which was such BS, right? And so I don't know. I just wish that a lot of the social media apps would go away. I know a couple of people that have been like very vocal about wanting it because money, which just goes back to, I think, the root of all of this. Whether you voted for Trump, whether you want TikTok, where your money comes from often dictates what you're willing to put up with. Right? Oh, it's okay if TikTok exists because I make, my living off of it. Oh, it's okay if Trump, deports these people because I get a tax cut. Like it's just, we're becoming too individual instead of like the group thinking. And I know people are going to be like, that's socialism. We live in a socialistic society. We depend on each other. We have to take care of each other because, to go back what we were talking about earlier, you're going to get rid of your undocumented immigrants and you're going to feel it. You're going to really effing feel it. And it sucks. It really, really sucks that people are just going to take advantage of all of these people and they're not even seeing it right now. You're not even seeing that this guy's a grifter. It's not even making headlines that the president of the United States is grifting people with this freaking crypto coin. I mean, I can't even believe that that's not even a bigger headline. He is grifting people.
Yeah. And the GOP has to look away because that's exactly what it is.
My God. How is this not bigger news? Yeah, that thing. We are fortunate. Oh my God.
I wanted to show you this about TikTok.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to tell you that two things. First of all, my daughter says her friends were panicking because all of their videos were going to be lost. They would log into TikTok to try to save their videos before TikTok went away, and they were faced with a message about how there was no more TikTok.
Yeah.
And so these teenagers were messaging Donald Trump to say, please save TikTok.
Oh,
And
stop.
then Donald Trump does save TikTok, and TikTok
He
puts
did
up
not
this
do
message
anything.
that includes the phrase, we are fortunate that
Yeah.
President Trump has indicated he will work with us on a solution to reinstate TikTok.
It was
This
all
is the thing
performative.
that President Biden said when he left office, that he made a mistake. He said, I should have taken credit for more of the good things we did instead of just doing them. I should have, been egotistical and bragging about it and slapped my name on everything, just like all the people that got a check signed by Donald Trump from the federal government and TikTok putting Trump's name on it. People see this and they remember stuff like this.
Yep.
So they basically naming their savior, right? And all the kids are going to know. So what does that mean? Oh, I'll vote for Trump when I turn 18 because,
He
he
saved
saved
TikTok.
Right.
But again, it's still confusing because remember, the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare, idiots still don't know that there's still idiots that don't know that it's the same exact thing. Obama slapped his name on that and they still don't know it's the exact same friggin' thing. Oh, I like the Affordable Care Act. I hate Obamacare. It's the exact same friggin' thing, you morons. But, if your politics go red, you don't know that, right? So, it doesn't matter. Biden couldn't win to lose. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
K-Plant, it's not being egotistical. It's speaking their language. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, the whole TikTok thing, Trump is the one that made it go away. He created the problem, by the way. Biden just continued it. Trump is the one that hated it. And I still think it's a national security problem. These people just want to keep their money. And again, China doesn't allow Facebook and Twitter in their country. Why do you think that is?
They're going to force TikTok to be sold to a tech bro. That's what they're going to
Musk.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to sell it to Elon Musk. And I think that is
or Zuckerberg or all the rest of those guys that were lining up at the inauguration, throwing $1 million in the inaugural fund because they want a chance to grab TikTok and anything else that will benefit them. Exactly. It's all a money grab, of it.
And it's frightening because if you can control social media, not traditional news anymore, you can control social media, these little clips that kids are watching and getting their news from. You've got them. You've got them. And they'll believe all the nonsense.
Yeah. It's so disappointing. I thought I could be okay. I could look away. I could not watch the inauguration. I thought I could do the headlines.
Did you watch it?
No, well, I parts of it because, news and I have to.
I didn't. I purposely didn't. What did I watch? You know what it was? I think my body just woke up naturally, but I purposely put on crap television. What was I watching? I was watching some sort of crap TV and I purposely watched something that I've been wanting to watch. I think I'm watching this stupid show Younger. That's like an old stupid TV show that I'm binge watching, but I did not want to watch it. I obviously had to watch clips because you can't get away from it. I mean, I know all the things, Lauren Sanchez and her bustier and the hat that Melania was wearing.
Burglar hat. Yeah.
All that. I have all the deets, but I did not. I know that Donald Trump didn't put his hand on the Bible. I know that Kamala was loving it. I mean, I know all the things, but I didn't want to watch it. Screw him.
Phineas watched Family Feud.
There you go.
Had to watch it, and I couldn't look away because I didn't watch the whole thing, but we did cover it on the Mark Thompson show. But I feel like every headline that comes out is more and more discouraging. There are some that are disgusting, but I think I find myself holding on to the little things that make me feel like there's hope.
Okay.
So we saw this today that Pete Hegseth, there's a report that he paid $50,000 to this woman who he allegedly assaulted in a sexual way. And this has come out now. All right. And now we know that there are 2 female senators that say, you know what, we can't support him.
Well, it's what's her face and what's her face that always never vote.
It's Murkowski
Yeah.
right?
And the
And
other one. It's
I forget the other
always the
one.
two women,
Yeah,
Murkowski and what's her face.
yeah.
But
Murkowski and Collins, Susan
there you
Collins.
go. Collins. That's the one I'm thinking of.
So now that Susan Collins and Murkowski have finally come to their senses, I feel like they're little nuggets like that where I go, oh, okay, I see that common sense just popped its head up again.
No,
I
I
see
have no
that
faith in them.
see that there's something positive happening.
No,
I have to look for these positives
no,
in this sea
mm-mm,
of dark.
no,
I have to look
mm-mm,
for these
mm-mm,
little
no.
spots of
They'll
light.
disappoint you. I don't have any faith in the GOP, especially Murkowski and Collins. They will. You know what? You know what those two women do? They hold out this essence of we have standards, and then they will break your effing heart every friggin' time. Every time. They're like,
Oh,
no. And then at the end, they're like, well, I had a conversation with them. And then I decided to just throw my support behind them. No friggin' way. They've broken my heart way too many times. I mean, Collins came out with this whole thing online, and she's like, she says she's not going to do it. She says she's not going to vote for Hegseth. And this is my thing. And everyone's like, you're going to get primaried and blah, blah, blah. Find a better effing candidate. He is
mhm.
not the only military guy out there. You have got to be kidding me. Hegseth has so much friggin' baggage, he can go to the airport. Like, just find somebody else. Like, is it that hard? But they're so stubborn and they're so prideful that they refuse. You know what I mean? They could find somebody else, but they're so stupid that they don't want to. They're like, no, we are going to take the guy that has sexual assaults and a drinking problem and all. Just find somebody else, you dumbasses.
The
Just
craziest
find
thing.
somebody else. I can't imagine in the laundry list of military people, find someone, one, with more military experience. Please just try. Put a little bit more effort into it. I am sure, I am positive that there is somebody besides a Fox News commentator with like the minimum amount of military experience and a whole lot of drinking and sexual assault allegations that you can find that could be the Secretary of Defense. Just try. I don't know. That's just my thought. But they don't want to try. They want to dig in their effing heels and be like, no, the Democrats aren't going to tell me what to do. So, no, that's literally it. That is literally the problem here. So, whatever. They're dumbasses. So, there you go. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know. I don't know how else to get through it. If,
Drinking.
unless
That's why we do the show once a week. Drinking. I thought that we've covered this already.
I love you. With all my heart. I love you.
I mean, I'm empty. That's why the show only lasts pretty much the end of my cocktail. But I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm just, it's so frustrating. It really
Did you
is.
see the story that the Associated Press says they will use the term Mount McKinley instead of Denali, but they will not say Gulf of America? What?
Because this was on the laundry list of shit we cared about. I am so sorry. Like,
Thanks, Associated Press.
Who
We'll
cares?
accept this bit of racism against Native Americans, but yeah, no, this whole racism against Mexico, we can't tolerate that.
Like, it's just, I have no words sometimes with this. I really don't. I mean, again, is this what we ran on? Is this what he ran on? This is what we wanted. This is what MAGA ran on. This of all the things that Americans care about is renaming things and all Greenland. And I can't imagine. I am really upset about the whole like climate change and Greenland. And I know that they have to redo the whole, White House website apparently, but it really did upset me that they're, taking away the Spanish language, translation on the White House website, and they have no climate. If you go to the climate change like section, they pull all that stuff off of the White House thing. It's just ridiculous.
They said that they put a ban on the publication. Oh yeah, cocktails.
My husband got me a second one because he heard I was running out. Okay, go ahead.
They put a ban on the release of any government-funded scientific study results because apparently we don't care about science. And I have to read you this, Nikki.
Okay, go ahead.
In addition to the J-6 pardons, according to Politico, Trump is pardoning abortion clinic protesters ahead of their big March for Life. Today, he issued pardons for nearly 24 people convicted for blocking access to and temporarily shutting down abortion clinics. Some of these people are currently serving federal sentences. Trump said they should not have been prosecuted. Many of them are elderly people. This is a great honor to sign this. He described them as peaceful protesters. Many of them were charged with barricading the doors of clinics with bicycle locks and implements, pushing and in some cases injuring clinic workers, and preventing patients from accessing the health care that they need. So there we go. This is our new country. Welcome to America 2.0.
This is the priorities that this president has. This is where he signs his name. This is the line. This is where he stands. I don't know, man. I don't get this guy. And you know that he's full of it. You know he's really not on this side, right? He doesn't actually care. It's just political points. That's what he cares about. It's like somebody whispered in his ears, this will give you political points. And he's like, okay. And he just signs it. Did you hear him today about he's like, I'm going to declassify everything about JFK and Martin Luther King's assassinations just because somebody asked.
I was reading that's a gift to RFK Jr., who wanted the records on his uncle's assassination declassified. And so now
I'm okay with that. I'm actually okay with that because it's been long enough. I'm actually okay with it. But just that somebody asked and it's like, whatever. Yeah. Okay, I'm fine with it. But it's just weird that he's signing something. He's like, I'm going to be releasing everything. And just the way he says it, I don't know, dude. It's
annoying and it's egotistical and it's braggadocious, but it works because clearly people go, oh, Trump did that. They'll remember Trump did
exactly.
That.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and just, it's just odd. He's an odd guy, but this is just the beginning. He's pardoned the 1,500 J6ers. He pardoned the Silk Road guy.
I saw that.
He's the law and order president, but he's selling you the meme coin and, he's grifting you to no end.
And he's pardoning the criminals, violent and otherwise.
Yeah, and he's coming to Cali, or he's speaking apparently. When is he coming to California? I thought he was going to come tomorrow, right?
He's coming to California tomorrow. Yeah. And Governor Gavin Newsom has not gotten a call yet about Trump's plans to come visit. And he says, doesn't matter if he calls me. I'm going to be on the tarmac waiting for him. I'll know where he shows up and I'll know what he's coming for.
Well,
and I'll be there.
Nonsense. Well, he's spreading all this stuff about the Delta smelt falsely.
Right.
And I am proud of our anchors that are saying he's falsely claiming all of these things about the water. Oh, they have to open the pipes and that they only get 38 gallons in Southern California. It's just, he just pulls stuff out of his ass all the time, which we know he does that all the time. So that'll be really interesting. So we'll follow that. There's there's the new fire near Castaic in Southern California, the Hughes fire, which is frightening. That's right near Castaic's right near Magic Mountain, which is like one of my favorite.
I know, I thought about you. Oh no, not Magic Mountain.
Well, not to the homes, but it's like not Magic Mountain. My God. Jesus
Eileen says
Lord.
This is the depressing truth that it's just the beginning.
It is. It's just
I don't know, Eileen. Here's what I'm thinking. He's trying to make a big splash by signing all these controversial things in the first week. I don't know what else there's going to be. Maybe we'll have a little lull after all of this because maybe he's been planning this for so long that he came in the door ready and swinging, and now we've got it all at once. So I don't know.
Yeah,
wishful thinking. Perhaps
maybe.
I'll take another drink.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the only way we're going to get through it. I mean, it's just absolutely. It's crazy. It's and it's sad. It's sad that we have to go through this again, that people actually voted for this again, but they did. And so that's what we have to put up with. I did have one local story that's, I guess it's not in your neck of the woods, but it's in Northern California. Sonoma State University.
Oh, that's very close to me. Yeah, that's in the town next door.
And you heard what happened.
Yeah,
right?
I did. Yeah,
It's
massive
really sad.
layoff,
So Sonoma State
cutting
is
the
cutting
sports
its
department.
entire athletic
Yep.
program and
Mhm.
their degrees to address a $24 million budget. I think I had a friend that went to Sonoma State. I think that he went to Sonoma State. This was years ago. So I think it was Sonoma State. If I remember correctly, because it was a gorgeous, gorgeous
Mhm.
campus.
Yeah.
Um,
They built a brand new music center with donations, but it's called the Green Music Center, and Julia plays there all the time with the
oh
Santa
my
Rosa
God.
Symphony, Santa
I
Rosa Youth
can't
Symphony.
imagine.
Yeah, and it's a nice campus. Our old news director, Paul Hosley's son went there.
Really?
Mhm.
So this is the thing. Okay, and I don't know much about Sonoma State. I'm going to play you a little bit of this news report from ABC7 just so you can see kind of the campus a little bit. But here's my question. A lot of people were calling it a quote unquote commuter school. So I don't know if anyone knows anything about Sonoma State, you guys can put it in the
Sonoma
comments.
State
And let me know if it is and if that would really matter to you about
University
going to
looks
it.
empty
Oh, play already.
Uh-oh.
now. It could be
I don't know if it's going to play for me.
Hmm.
I might not want to. Hold on, one more chance. And
Well,
much worse come next year.
all right, it's not playing for me. But anyways, it's a really nice campus. And I was just thinking, like, if it's a commuter school, are not enough people going to it to justify,
Yeah,
because it lost a lot. Apparently, its enrollment
declined.
plummeted,
Mhm.
plummeted so much.
Well, they
So
had some things happen. They had some allegations of, uh I don't know if it was sexual impropriety or whatnot, but the former chancellor's husband had a
yes,
conflict with a professor. So there was that incident that happened. Then there was some academic standards that maybe weren't so rigorous there. And so they were in danger of losing accreditation at one point. But this is a state school, just like San Francisco State or
just
Sac
like San
State or
Jose
San Jose
State.
State.
Yes, the
Exactly.
CSU.
There's a huge community built around it. There's a huge college, that the apartments around the campus are all full of college students. So, I mean, it's possible that it's a commuter school as far as, you live in Petaluma, you go to school at Sonoma State, whatever. But there are also a lot of people that go there as right out of high school as freshmen that live in the dorms, that live in the areas around Sonoma State. So I don't know if I would call it a commuter school, but I think it's true that many fewer people are going there.
I just can't imagine sending my kid to a state school, whether it's a commuter school or whatever, far away, and then they learn. I mean, it's not only the sports that's going away,
Mhm,
liberal arts. I mean, they're cutting entire divisions out of their school, entire
mhm.
programs out of their school, and these kids have nothing now. Okay, of course they can push back. This isn't necessarily final, but it's something to think about. I mean, our kids, Kim, they're right about to apply to schools next year. I mean, if you
I
really think about
know.
it, if you want to do, early
Yep.
admissions, especially, I mean, I just was listening to the radio this morning. If anybody listens to music stations, there was one of these questions. Um, this parent called in this question. Now, you tell me what you would do. This is not Sonoma State. This is Stanford University. Okay.
Mhm.
I think it's a third generation. The kid would be a third or a fourth generation Stanford student. Okay.
A legacy, right,
A
okay.
legacy student. Okay.
Mhm.
Boy. Okay. Gets it. Apparently got into Stanford, but his girlfriend is going to a community college. So
Oh.
he wants to go to a community college. I love asking Kim this question. As a parent, what would you say if your child came to you and said, I don't want to go to Stanford. I would like to go to a community college?
Where's the community college?
I don't know.
Is it in the area?
I would assume.
I would assume so. See, if this is a family that's from the peninsula or the South Bay.
Yeah, I'm going to assume because this is a Bay Area radio station I was listening to. So I'm
Yeah,
assuming it's a local.
then they're in the same area. It's not like they're never gonna see each other, even if they don't go to the same school. I think the son is throwing away an opportunity because even if you go to community college, there's no guarantee you're gonna get into Stanford again if you throw away the one chance that you got in.
Rev
I
says that the Stanford will be waiting for him in 2 years.
Perhaps, but I disagree. If the family wants him to go and can afford to pay the bill, then
Well, the parent says if you do this, You're
We're
cut
not
off.
paying the bill. Yeah, that's a mistake. I think that's a
Mm.
mistake. It's a mistake for his future. And if he really loves the girl and the girl really loves him, they'll make it work.
I
Even
would
if
be
they
if I
don't
was the
part of it.
girlfriend, I'm like, go to Stanford, get your money, get
Exactly.
your job. Like, I'm like,
Exactly.
why are you telling this guy to
Hopefully
not
we'll
go to
end up together, and
Stanford?
I know you're gonna be more successful if you do this.
Exactly. I'm like, you get
That's
yourself
just
a Stanford boy.
that's
It's
not clear
okay.
or logical thinking. But on the same lines of college, I would say, I wanna read you this story that came out this
Okay.
afternoon, and that is that it's not only Sonoma State that faces budget cuts, the
Oh,
entire California State University system is facing a
boo,
proposed 8% cut in state funding. And they think
boo.
that could affect more than 450,000 students. This is in Governor Gavin Newsom's budget plan.
Yeah.
It includes just over $375 million in reductions and delays about $252 million in funding, increasing financial strain on the system. Currently, 60% of CSU funding comes from the state of California, the rest from tuition and fees. So 60% is quite a bit. Campuses across the state are already reacting. As you mentioned, Sonoma State facing a $23.9 million
Crazy.
budget deficit, eliminated the entire athletic program, 6 academic departments, and they let go of just over 60 employees. At Cal State San Bernardino, possible cuts could affect services like tutoring, career counseling, and all the extracurriculars. So it's
Wow.
happening across the state.
And it's scary. And you guys all know I'm a huge proponent of going to community college and then transferring over if that works for you and your child. But if your child gets into Stanford first and you can't afford it,
Right.
like if you can afford it without student loans, because I hate student loans. I don't understand starting life off with a huge amount of debt. If you can afford it and pay for it without debt, do it.
Right.
But yeah, if that boy can get into a Stanford and not be in hella debt, I'd say go for it.
I know. I
Um,
feel for his parents, though. That's gotta be rough on them to go, "Oh,"
especially
and now
legacy.
they're
Now
18
legacy.
and he's gotta make his own choices, but you see someone who has an opportunity for success and they've chosen a different path. It's a
Yeah.
hard one, but you have to let them make their own choices.
But also, like, I can't even imagine being a legacy kid. And like, I went to Stanford and he went to Stanford. Now you have to go to Stanford. I can only
Yeah.
imagine the pressure. God, I mean, and
Uh-huh.
it started young. You know what I
Yep.
mean? It started young. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sure you went to the games and you had the pennant on the wall and you had the sweatshirt from birth. You know what I mean? Like, I am positive this started young. I'm
There's pressure.
assuming, Cheryl, the girl is not going to Stanford if she's going to community college. I don't know. The girl's going to community college. That was the story. So, oh, look, Ricky says a girlfriend of mine did CSU Northridge except the last year and then transferred to Stanford. And you know what
Wow.
she tells everybody? I graduated from Stanford University.
It's
That's what she
possible.
says. That's what she said.
Absolutely.
There you go. See? Exactly. And that's the thing. You know what my alma mater is? San Jose State University. You want to know how many colleges I went to? 3. So, so there you go.
Well, hopefully she gets in and he gets in, and I do like a young love story, though, so that's
Exactly.
really sweet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But those, I
Yeah.
mean, who knows? Who knows if it's going to work out? And that's the other thing. The people on the radio are like, who knows if it's going to work out? Are you really going to give up Stanford for like love?
For young love?
For love? I mean, it's a sweet story, but if I was a girl, send your boy to Stanford. And
Yep.
you could,
100%.
it might work out, it might not, but that Stanford degree is going to mean a heck of a lot more. So just keep him in school, get your degree. It's going to work out for you in the long run. All right, guys, that is our show. Thank you guys so much for being here. We got through it together. Thank you, Luis, for the donations. 2 donations of $5. Thank you so very much. You guys can still donate to our show because I know so many of you guys watch it in the replay. We are 100% crowdfunded, and we appreciate you guys so much. So many of you donate through PayPal, and we love PayPal donations because they take the least amount. And thank you guys so much for your very generous PayPal donations. We love you guys, and we can't do the show without you. So go to paypal.com, theNikkiMadoroShow.com. The Nikki Maduro Show at gmail.com is our email address. And that is the best way to find us. Also, we have Patreon, the Nikki Maduro Show.com is the way to find us. The Nikki Maduro Show, the Nikki Maduro Show.com right there on the bottom of the screen. And the super chat, super stickers are always live as well. And if you like a delicious barbecue sauce, go to antitabbies.com and use the coupon code NickKim, and you can pick up a bottle of the guava barbecue sauce. And every single time you order and use our coupon code NickKim, you get 10% off. So use it at antitabbies.com. Get that delicious guava barbecue sauce. Use it on beef, chicken, fish, anything you like. It is absolutely delicious. All right, you guys, we will be back. Oh, that's right. SJ Lola. Look where she's
This
at.
is SJ Lola, who's on a beach in Maui today, watching the after party live, the Nikki Maduro Show. She's hanging out. She's in Kaanapali. Right. There it is.
Look at that. I bet she's not worried about Donald Trump.
No, I don't think she is. I think she's been sipping on that SJ Lola cup,
Look
the
at
San Jose Sharks cup all day long.
Take me with you, SJ. Oh my God, look at that. I love that. The Sharks with the SJ right there. Oh, all right.
Cute.
We were back here.
I don't think we read this one.
Oh.
Luis says, props to the Giants for participating in the LA Strong Fire Aid campaign. All merch with the iconic SF logo beneath the LA Strong logo go to fire relief. So that is great. Thank you, Luis, for letting us know. Super awesome.
And if you guys know of any other donations that are going to the fire, any sort of fire release, let us know. Oh yeah, and Uncle Scrooge, the $5 donation. Thank you so much as well. I almost missed that one as well. Thank you guys so much for all your generous donations. We love you guys so very much. So don't miss next week's Cocktails and News Thursday nights at 5 Pacific, because who knows what that crazy guy is going to do. I'm sure he's going to do something, and we'll drink. Get some poke and malasadas. SJ Lola. I think I said that right. Did I say that right? Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Mahalo. All right, love you guys.
Bye.
Mahalo. Bye.
Aloha.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. Nikki, you're all so awesome.
What happened to Jake?
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud, like a beautiful.
Why is he not playing?
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud.